My husband insulted me for years, saying I was nothing. I waited, took all his money, and left him the day he lost his job. Now he's broke, jobless, and living with his mom. He calls me 30 times a day. I met Robert at O'Malley's, this local bar downtown that everyone hits up after work on Fridays. I was there with coworkers from the insurance office where I work as an admin assistant. He seemed so confident, buying me a White Claw and telling me about his job in middle management at Midwest Manufacturing. He had this way of making me feel special, like he'd chosen me out of everyone there. We got married after dating for 2 years. My friends thought it was fast, especially Kira, my best friend since high school. But I was so sure. Looking back, I should have seen the signs, like how he insisted we combine our finances right away, because that's what married people do. Or how he'd say things like, "Good thing you've got me to handle the money stuff. You'd probably spend it all on Target runs." With that laugh that made everyone else laugh too. I didn't notice how the jokes got worse after we merged our accounts. When I'd buy groceries, $7 for organic milk? This is why I check the statements. When I got a small raise. Well, it's not like your management material, but I guess it's cute they gave you something. When I wanted to try for a promotion, "Honey, you know that's not really your lane. Besides, I make enough for both of us." It was always followed by, "I'm just teasing," or, "You know I love you." And I believed him because I thought that's what marriage was. My parents had the same dynamic. Dad always teasing mom about her cooking or her weight or her silly hobbies. Things started shifting about 2 years ago. Robert started coming home later. Nothing crazy. 7 p.m. instead of 6 p.m., then 8 p.m. Sometimes he'd smell like beer, sometimes like that cologne sample they hand out at the mall. When I asked, he'd say, "Just drinks with the guys from work," or "Had to entertain a client." Then he'd make some comment about how cute my suspicion was, how I should stick to worrying about whether we need more La Croix in the fridge. Our sex life changed too. He stopped initiating unless he was drunk. When I tried, he'd make comments about my body. Not direct insults, just observations that left me feeling like shit. "You've got that little pooch thing happening," he'd say, poking my stomach while I lay vulnerable. Or, "Your boobs look different since you gained weight." I'm 5'6" and 145 pounds, basically the same as when we met. I started pulling away physically, which he used against me. "This is why men cheat," he'd say casually while scrolling through Instagram, when their wives stopped putting out. He never admitted to cheating, but the suggestion was always there, hanging over us. Last summer, I noticed our savings account was lower than it should be. When I mentioned it, Robert exploded. "Are you checking up on me? Don't you trust me? I'm the one who makes the real money here." He slammed the door hard enough to knock down the wall art we'd picked out together when we first moved in. That night, I couldn't sleep. While he snored beside me, I scrolled through our online banking on my phone. There were withdrawals. Not huge, but consistent. Usually on Fridays. Usually around $200, $300. Over months, it added up to thousands. The next day at work, I mentioned it to Oliver, my coworker who sits in the cubicle next to mine. He's good with money stuff, always talking about his Robinhood account and crypto investments that honestly go over my head. "That sounds shady," he said. "You should start saving separately, just in case." "In case of what?" I asked. He just gave me this look, and I felt stupid. Of course I knew what he meant, in case everything fell apart. I started small. I opened a Capital One account online with my personal email that Robert didn't have access to. I set up direct deposit for a portion of my paycheck, just $100 per pay period at first. Robert never noticed because he only checked the joint account statements. I started picking up extra hours at work when we had claim processing backlogs, telling Robert I was helping out, but pocketing the overtime pay. Around Christmas, things got worse at home. Robert came back from his company holiday party in a foul mood. He'd been passed over for promotion again. "Fucking Sebastian," he muttered, referring to his coworker who got the position. "Probably sucking up to the VP. That's what your type does, right? You're not promotion material." I remember standing in our kitchen, realizing my husband was actually mediocre. Not just as a person, but at his job. The thought felt like a betrayal, but once it appeared, I couldn't unthink it. January brought more jokes. About my cooking. I guess not everyone can make edible pasta. About my friends. Kira's still single because she's impossible to please, like someone else I know. About my family. Your sister's kids are so loud. Guess loud and annoying runs in your family. I started writing everything down in the Notes app on my phone. Date, time, exact quote. I don't know why at first. Maybe just to convince myself I wasn't crazy. But it became a habit. Then almost a comfort. Proof that I wasn't imagining things. February was when I found the credit card statements. Not our regular Visa. A Capital One card I didn't know existed. Statements sent to his work email that I saw only because he left his laptop open when he fell asleep watching video. Charges from places like Lucky Star Entertainment and VIP Room. Google told me these were strip clubs near his office. I didn't confront him. Instead, I doubled my secret savings contributions and started researching apartments on Zillow during my lunch breaks. In March, rumors of layoffs started at Robert's company. He came home increasingly agitated, drinking more Miller Lite than usual, making sharper jokes. "If I lose my job, you'll finally have to learn what real work is," he'd say, while I silently calculated how many more paychecks I needed before I could leave. Last week, it happened. He called me at work, voice tight with anger. They let me go. Sebastian's department was spared. Fucking diversity hire, probably. My heart raced as he continued, "Don't bother making dinner. I'm going out with the guys." He came home at 2 a.m. stumbling drunk. I pretended to be asleep as he crashed around our bedroom, muttering about ungrateful wives and how no one appreciated a man who sacrificed everything. The next morning, he slept until noon while I quietly moved money from our joint savings to my secret account. When he finally emerged, red-eyed and hostile, he announced his plan. "We're moving in with my parents until I find something," he declared, not asking, just stating. "You'll need to give notice at your little job. Not like you make enough to matter anyway." I nodded, saying nothing, thinking about the apartment I'd already applied for. The one I'd been approved for yesterday. The one he knew nothing about. "What, no opinion?" he sneered. "Of course not. You never have anything valuable to contribute." Something inside me finally snapped. 8 years of jokes crystallized into perfect clarity. I looked at him, really looked at him. This average man with thinning hair and a growing beer gut who had convinced me for years that I was nothing. "Actually," I said quietly, "I do have an opinion." That's when I told him I was leaving, that I'd been planning it for months, that I knew about the strip clubs, the missing money, all of it. His face went through a series of expressions I'll never forget. Shock, disbelief, rage, and finally, fear. "You can't leave," he sputtered. "You're nothing without me. Who's going to want you? You can't even manage money." I just smiled, grabbed my pre-packed suitcase from the hall closet, and walked out. It's been 3 days. I'm writing this from my new apartment. Nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom near the park. Robert has called my phone 37 times today alone, texted 19 times, left voicemails ranging from tearful apologies to vicious threats. Apparently, he discovered I'd moved most of our savings, all legal. My name was on the accounts too. He's staying with his mom now. No job, no savings, no wife, just his childhood bedroom and his wounded pride. First update. First, thank you all for the support on my last post. I've read every comment, and they've helped more than you know, especially during nights when I question everything. It's been exactly 1 week since I left Robert. The first thing that hit me wasn't some profound sense of freedom. It was realizing I forgot to pack my phone charger. Spent my first night of freedom with my phone at 12% battery, too anxious to sleep, watching YouTube videos on low brightness about organizing small spaces. My new apartment is, well, it's an apartment. The bathroom fan makes this weird clicking sound, and the neighbor's kid practices violin at 7 a.m., but it's mine. I bought a shower curtain from Target yesterday, one of those cloth ones with little tassels. Robert would have hated it, called it basic white girl decor, and made some comment about how I can't even pick out bathroom accessories without help. Speaking of Robert, 127 calls in 7 days, 89 texts, 15 voicemails. They started with, "Baby, I'm sorry, please come home," and evolved into, "You ungrateful bitch, you're nothing without me." The latest one was just him breathing heavily for 2 minutes. I haven't responded to any of them, but I'd be lying if I said they didn't affect me. Flora, my MIL, showed up at my work yesterday. That was fun. She was crying, saying Robert hasn't eaten in days, hasn't showered, keeps talking about how he lost everything. Part of me felt guilty. Then she said, "He's sorry about the strip clubs, honey. Men just need attention sometimes when their wives are, you know." And just like that, the guilt evaporated. I didn't tell her about the gambling, about how I found receipts for online poker sites buried in his email when I was gathering documents, about the $23,000 in credit card debt he'd hidden, about the payday loans. She probably still thinks I'm the villain who abandoned her precious son when he lost his job. The weirdest part? My everyday routine, making coffee for one, grocery shopping for one. Turns out I hate the bread Robert always insisted we buy. Coming home to silence instead of a list of ways I disappointed him that day. I keep catching myself waiting for his reaction to things, then remembering I don't need his permission anymore. Kira's been amazing. She shows up with takeout, helps me arrange furniture, doesn't comment when I cry over stupid things like not knowing which brand of laundry detergent to buy because Robert always handled that. Yesterday I had a breakdown in Target because I couldn't decide what kind of hangers to get. She just stood there, holding me in the storage aisle, while I sobbed about plastic versus velvet hangers. Peak dignity right there. The financial stuff is messy. Robert finally discovered I'd moved most of our savings. He's been telling everyone I stole from him, conveniently forgetting that my name was on the accounts too, and that I only took what I'd contributed over the years. His friend Sebastian, the one who got the promotion Robert wanted, messaged me on Facebook, actually congratulating me. Turns out Robert had been bad-mouthing him to everyone, calling him slurs, trying to sabotage his work. That's the real reason he got fired, not downsizing. Last night, I ordered pizza with pineapple. Robert always said pineapple on pizza was for people with no taste. Ate it sitting on my new couch, the cheap one he would have hated. Watching that reality show he said was rotting my brain. Wearing the Target leggings he called lazy person clothes. The pizza tasted like freedom. A little lonely, kind of cold by the time I finished it, but mine. I know this post is all over the place. I'm all over the place. One minute I'm proud of myself, the next I'm doubting everything. This morning I spent 20 minutes staring at my reflection, trying to see what Robert saw, the stupid, worthless person he described. Instead, I just saw me, tired, a bit scared, but still here. He's still at his mom's house, still jobless, still calling. His latest tactic is having his friends' wives reach out to tell me how worried everyone is, how I'm tearing apart a family. Meanwhile, I'm learning how to build a life that's mine. Second update. I wasn't going to post another update so soon, but after today, I need to process what happened. It started with a delivery. Just a normal DoorDash order. Thai food from that place near my new apartment. I was working from home because my internet was being installed. Finally. The doorbell rang, and I opened it without thinking. It wasn't DoorDash. It was Robert. Standing there with flowers from the grocery store, still in the plastic wrapper with the $9.99 sticker visible. He'd lost weight, hadn't shaved, wearing that old UW hoodie he's had since college. For a second, muscle memory almost made me step aside to let him in. Instead, I closed the door. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely work the deadbolt. "Babe, come on," he said through the door. "I just want to talk. I've changed. I've been going to therapy." Narrator's note. He hasn't. Flora told Kira he refused to go. I didn't respond, just sat on my entryway floor, back against the door, listening to him cycle through his greatest hits. "I'm sorry about everything. You're overreacting. Remember how good we were together? You're being dramatic. I miss you. You're nothing without me. I love you. You ungrateful bitch." This went on for 45 minutes. My neighbor across the hall, sweet old lady who waters my plants when I'm at work, called the police. By the time they arrived, Robert had left, but not before sliding a letter under my door. I haven't read it yet. It's sitting on my kitchen counter like a bomb that might go off. The police were police. Took a report. Told me to call if he comes back. Suggested I get cameras, already ordered on Amazon, thanks to everyone who recommended them in the comments of my last post. Turns out Robert found my address through Flora. She'd asked Kira's sister where I moved, because she was worried about me. I'm not even mad at Flora anymore. She's as much a victim of Robert's manipulation as anyone. She really believes her son is the wounded party here. After the police left, I had a mild panic attack in my bathroom. Not a movie-style breakdown, just sat on the closed toilet lid, scrolling mindlessly through TikTok while trying to remember how to breathe normally. Fun times. Called out of work for the rest of the day. My boss was understanding. She's been through something similar, apparently. It's weird how many people come out of the woodwork with similar stories once you start telling yours. Kira came over after her last client. Brought wine and those frozen appetizers from Trader Joe's we used to get in college. We didn't talk about Robert. Instead, we watched bad reality TV and tried to figure out if my weird ceiling stain looks more like a duck or a rabbit. The thing that's messing with my head most? When I saw Robert today, he looked small. Not physically, though yeah, he has lost weight, but like, diminished. The man who spent years making me feel tiny suddenly seemed so much less threatening than the shadow he'd cast in my mind. Don't get me wrong, I'm still scared. I'm angry. I'm sad. But mostly I'm tired. Tired of jumping every time my phone buzzes. Tired of checking my rearview mirror for his car. Tired of feeling like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Some updates on other fronts. Changed all my passwords. Again. Finally got my own Netflix account. Goodbye, Robert's watch list. Ordered a Ring doorbell camera. Started therapy. Actual therapy. Not the fake kind Robert claims he's doing. Adopted a cat from the shelter. Her name is Potato and she judges everything I do. The weirdest part? Life keeps going. My dishwasher still needs to be unloaded. My plants still need watering. Potato still needs her litter box cleaned. The world doesn't stop just because your ex-husband has a public meltdown on your doorstep. Oh, and the DoorDash driver? Eventually showed up. Food was cold. Still ate it. The letter is still sitting on my counter. Part of me wants to burn it. Part of me wants to read it. Most of me wants to pretend today never happened. Third update. I was at Whole Foods yesterday, treating myself to their fancy mac and cheese from the hot bar. Don't judge. When I literally bumped carts with Sebastian. Yes, that Sebastian. The one Robert blamed for his firing. You know that awkward moment when you run into someone you know but aren't sure if you should acknowledge them? Multiply that by 1,000 when it's your ex-husband's former coworker who he claimed ruined his life. But Sebastian just smiled and asked how I was doing. We ended up getting coffee at the Starbucks inside the store. What he told me? Well, it explains a lot. Robert wasn't fired because of downsizing. He wasn't fired because Sebastian took his position. He was fired because he got caught falsifying expense reports. Those client meetings at strip clubs, he was submitting them as business expenses. The team lunches that cost hundreds, solo trips to sports bars where he'd gamble on games. But here's the kicker. The company was willing to work with him. They offered him a chance to pay back the money and take a demotion. His response? He went on a tirade about how Sebastian, who had nothing to do with any of this, was out to get him, and made some threats that HR couldn't ignore. Sebastian showed me screenshots of messages Robert sent him after the firing. They're not good. Lots of slurs, lots of threats. Apparently, Robert had been telling everyone at work that Sebastian was sleeping with me. We'd never even spoken before yesterday. I sat there in Starbucks, holding my cooling coffee, realizing that the man I'd been married to was even more of a stranger than I thought. Other updates. Potato, my cat, has decided 3 a.m. is the perfect time to learn parkour. Finally read that letter Robert left. Took it to therapy first. It was 8 pages of alternating apologies and blame. Got a Ring doorbell camera after he showed up. Worth every penny. Started doing yoga with YouTube videos in my living room. Robert always said yoga was for people who aren't smart enough for real exercise. Found an old journal from when we first started dating. Reading it is enlightening. The journal entries are the hardest part. I wrote about how lucky I was that Robert chose me, how I needed to try harder to be good enough for him. There's an entire entry about how I spent 3 hours making his favorite dinner after he said, "I cook like someone who hates food." Flora called yesterday. She started with the usual guilt trip about how Robert's not eating and crying all the time. Then she said something interesting. I should have seen it sooner. He's just like his father. Turns out Robert's dad didn't leave for work opportunities like Robert always claimed. He left after gambling away their savings and maxing out credit cards in Flora's name. History really does repeat itself. I'm not angry anymore. Not really. Mostly I feel weird, like when you finally take off uncomfortable shoes you've worn all day. The relief is immediate, but you still have those indents in your skin that take time to fade. Some things that have changed in 3 months. I can watch whatever I want on TV without commentary. My grocery bill is half what it used to be. Turns out I don't actually need expensive protein bars and energy drinks. I sleep through the night most times. I bought plants and haven't killed them, yet. I started using my real laugh again. Not the quiet one Robert said was more attractive. Some things that haven't. Still check my rearview mirror obsessively. Jump when my phone rings. Automatically apologize for everything. Struggle to make simple decisions sometimes. Miss him in weird moments. Like when I saw his favorite cereal on sale. Sebastian gave me his card before we left. Said to call if I ever need anything. Not in a flirty way. He's happily married to his wife of 5 years. Just as someone who gets it. Last update, I was at Target buying those plastic storage bins, because apparently adulting means getting excited about organizing stuff. As I'm comparing prices, I hear someone say, "You don't want those ones, the lids crack easily." It was Flora, my former mother-in-law, standing there in the storage aisle holding a bag of cat litter. For a second, I froze. My cart was full of obviously single-person items, frozen meals for one, a new shower curtain, that weird lavender spray everyone on TikTok is obsessed with, evidence of my new life without her son. But Flora just smiled, tired and genuine. "That cat litter you recommended for Potato? I got a cat too." Turns out Robert moved out of her house last month. He's sleeping on his friend's couch, still unemployed, still blaming everyone else. Flora looks lighter. She's going to therapy, joined a book club. We got coffee at the Starbucks. No drama, no tears. Just 2 women talking about cats and books and how hard it is to find good storage containers. "I'm sorry," she said. "Not just for him, for me too, for not seeing it sooner. He's so much like his father and I didn't want to admit it." Life updates since my last post. Moved to a slightly better apartment. This one has a dishwasher. Potato has accepted that 3 a.m. is not parkour time. Finally blocked Robert on everything after his latest meltdown. Got my first real credit card in my name. Learning to cook, though my smoke detector is my most honest critic. The weirdest part of healing? The mundane moments. Like realizing I automatically bought Robert's favorite snacks for months before remembering I don't even like salt and vinegar chips. Or catching myself apologizing to my coffee maker when I bump into it. Still working on the constant apologizing. Some victories that probably sound small but feel huge. Ordered food without checking the price 3 times. Wore red lipstick. Robert said it made me look trashy. Used the good towels on a regular Tuesday. Called my mom without rehearsing what to say first. I still have bad days. Yesterday I had a mini panic attack because I couldn't decide what brand of toothpaste to buy. Stood in the dental care aisle for 20 minutes, nearly crying because there were too many choices. But the good days outnumber the bad ones now. Robert's still around, peripherally. He made a scene at his friend's wedding last month. I heard through mutual friends. Got drunk, started ranting about how I stole his life. The friend's wife, who I never even met, apparently told him to leave. He's been telling people I cheated on him with Sebastian, that I stole all his money. I took exactly what I'd contributed. That I broke him. He was broken long before me. The thing is, I don't care anymore. Not in a dramatic, I'm so over it way. More like how you stop noticing a background noise once you've been away from it long enough. Flora gave me a hug before we left, said she's proud of me, asked if I wanted to get coffee again sometime. I said maybe, and I meant it. I bought the storage bins she recommended. They're sitting in my living room now, waiting to be filled. Potato is sleeping in one of the empty ones, because cats are weird like that. This will probably be my last update. Not because everything's perfect. It's not. I still jump when my phone rings, still rehearse conversations in my head, still catch myself trying to be smaller, quieter, less difficult. But I'm learning, growing, healing. To everyone in a similar situation, you're not crazy, you're not too sensitive, you're not overreacting, and you're definitely not nothing.